So it's 3,
I got
2,
cheese up here.
1, and we're live.
What's up, guys?
Yeah. So now we're live on YouTube. So you guys, we're gonna leave this on Instagram up for a couple of minutes.
Cool.
So seriously, if you know somebody, if you got somebody do some interesting stuff, hit me, man.
I agree.
Physics, science, medicine, training,
Hit me up too.
martial arts. Yeah, you could sit in between us. If you don't like me and you want to hit with Jay, that's good. If you don't want him, you're good. Whatever, dude. We got it, man.
I heard somebody up that knows me.
Exactly. We're easy to find. Yeah, so it's all like that.
I'm out there.
Okay, dude, we got to get in this because I know you got to go choke some people later.
In a little bit, not too long.
The fights, UFC 226.
Craziness.
Holy crap. So DC won.
So let's back up because our predictions, we made predictions before this fight.
We did make some predictions.
And I think we were, if I remember
Holloway,
right, we were kind of, the Holloway Ortega thing we didn't see coming.
Yeah, nobody saw that.
Right. So, but the other two, I think we only predicted the top three, right?
We only predicted the top three.
Right.
Yeah.
So the other two, I think we were wildly off. Is that accurate?
Well,
I know I was
my
wildly
thing was
off
this.
of mine.
I was going to say yes for the Ngannou match with Lewis.
Oh my god!
I'm just wasn't even going to address it. Like I don't care what we picked or what anybody picked.
So bad, you have to address it just for a minute, just to talk about the train wreck it was.
That was. I'm going to say this in the beginning. I appreciate Lewis's comments after the fight, at the post-fight
I didn't
presser.
hear him.
He totally. So he was like, they're like, well, you won, and what's next, and all these things. And he was like, what's next for me is I'm going to sit my ass on the bench. He goes, I need to sit down for a little bit and figure this out. I don't deserve anything else.
Right.
I don't deserve the title shot.
You could see it on his face after the fight, when they announced the winner. You could see it on his face.
Yeah.
Like, he was pretty embarrassed.
He was very embarrassed.
Yeah.
I mean, he was
like
painful.
Joe Rogan didn't even do a post-fight interview.
That's
because
bad.
they did not even deserve it.
Yeah.
And Joe Rogan, I don't know if this is accurate to say, although I don't think anybody's seen more fights than that guy. He said it was the worst fight he's ever seen, ever.
I mean, I would say that.
It's up there.
Of
I
all
was
fights.
trying to remember the worst fight as bad. I've seen some bad fights where fighters don't really engage,
Not
but
like
I
that.
don't think I've seen it at that level.
Never like that, man.
And it's honestly on both fighters.
Yeah.
More on Ngannou.
More in Ngannou.
But
because we did learn later.
Lewis
had come off. He had his back. His back is always an issue.
Right.
Right. So he had some bad back stuff. They
Right.
didn't disclose what it was. The week of the fight. So he was coming into it, and what he had said, paraphrasing everything here, he had said that Ngannou's game was to get Lewis to throw that right because he knows he overexposes himself, and to get him with the left hook. So he was like, I wasn't going to give him the right.
Wow.
So he was like, that's the game. So he was like, I tried to engage a few times.
That's what Ngannou said.
No,
That's
Lewis
what
said
to get Ngannou to engage so he could catch him with the
exactly.
Okay.
So Lewis was expected to throw that big right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know, I saw that. And when he does, Lewis admitted, he was like, I leave myself open.
Yeah.
He was like, when I throw that, if I miss, I leave myself open. That's what they wanted. He was going to hit me with that left, and that's what they waited for. So he was like, I wasn't going to give it to him.
Well, if your game's not good enough to adjust to that, there's a problem.
Yeah. And in Lewis's defense, forget the back injury. I mean, you accept the fight, you accept the fight. There's no excuses. He is not the type of fighter that is going to chase someone down for 3 rounds.
Yeah.
He's not going to do it.
Yeah.
He's just not.
No, you're right. You're 100% right.
So he attempted engagement, and Ngannou just,
I don't know what that was.
I don't know, was he drunk?
What
the
I think
hell?
the best, and I almost, it made, as soon as I saw what was happening within about 2 minutes, maybe less, you kind of you realized what was probably happening. You had to wonder if that loss to Stipe really just, he's not recovered mentally from that. Like, you realize
Possible.
that just made him just a super hesitant fighter all of a sudden. Now he's like, oh shit, I can be beat. I can be beat up.
You didn't hear any of Dana White's comments?
No, and I meant to. I've just
Okay.
been, I was in Austin and all this craziness. And
Snapshots from Dana, okay? Paraphrasing.
It's got to
as well.
be good.
Oh, it's amazing. He said before the Ngannou-Stipe fight,
Yeah.
Ngannou disappeared for about 2 weeks to Paris and didn't train. Right before the fight.
Why would he do that?
Right before the fight. Like, disappeared. Ghost. Gone.
Does anybody know why?
No, nobody knows. Didn't train
It's always
anything.
weird shit happening.
So then he comes in and he loses the fight to Stipe. So he said this one he supposedly, trained the whole time. We have to assume that he trained the whole time. He didn't have anything else, but that his ego was
crushed
so far out of check. Like
before the Stipe or before the Derek Lewis fight?
before the Stipe through now.
Yeah. Well, guess what?
Yeah, he's done. He's toast.
I think so too. I think mentally I think whatever happened there, he's just not. The fighting is gone.
Yeah, he's toast, man.
He can't be a fighter
anymore. And now he has a baby that's about to be born.
Yeah.
Pretty quick. I don't know I don't want to put a date on it, but rather quick. Yeah. And so I know maybe that's getting to him. I'm not sure.
You got to the way he came into MMA.
Yeah.
Just boom, just out of nowhere, no background. I think he was living on the street at some point, and all that put together, and then boom, instant fame and stardom, and everybody's talking about you're the most dangerous man on the planet. He was not mentally. Not a lot of people can handle that sudden stardom. That happened across everything. Like you look at Hollywood, you look at all kinds of areas and professions. When people hit that major stardom so fast, out of being just a regular Joe or something like where they're not around that, most people don't handle it well.
Yeah, it takes a special person. You want to hit those?
Yeah, I do.
All right, so everybody, we're gonna switch everybody over. So join us on YouTube, YouTube / Jason C. Powell. Easy, we'll get us there. You have to click end and then hit. You want to save it? Yeah.
I did something there.
Yeah. So this one. So hit the top right end. And then end live video. Yeah. And then up top right, hit save. Yeah. Nah. Because I'll put it on the you can just leave it like that. Okay. Yeah. And then I'll put it on the TV thing later. So that one, excuses, whatever your professional fighter type of your game, like figure it out, man.
I don't know. I was very honestly to say I was extremely disappointed because I was pretty hyped about that fight.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, we're going to see guys just slinging bombs, and some guy's head's going to get knocked out of the cage.
That's what I was hoping for.
And then that, oh.
Now, get them wrong. The first 15 seconds when they had that one engage and Ngannou missed that cross, like that. He swung it. I was like, if that connected, game over.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, nothing.
Well, I saw. I don't want to spend too much time on this fight because it doesn't deserve it. But Derek Lewis. I really and the reason and he's a local guy, so that's why I kind of want to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
He looked. I don't want to say scared because I don't think it's fair to say that. I don't want to say that in a negative way. He looked. Well, okay, I'm gonna say it. He looked scared.
Yeah.
He looked scared, and I don't blame him. That's just his highlights are fucking scary, and he's a big man.
Yeah.
He looked scared. He looked like he was scared to death to get caught. And with that uppercut or that hook, he looked scared. And if you look at his eyes, you know that look.
I know.
You know that look when someone's hungry and they're going for somebody versus somebody that's like kind of wide-eyed. He looked a little wide-eyed to me.
I have to agree 100%. I just feel like this: if either one of them won, there is a very likely chance they are going to get a shot at the title after the Lesnar fight, which we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
If they gave a shit.
It would have, but now
they're done.
Yeah, Derek Lewis has a chance because he's got enough of a history of putting on entertaining fights, and I think mentally he can come back from that.
Yeah,
I think Ngannou. I say he'll have one more fight. Probably, I don't know what his contract states.
It depends on his contract.
It won't be on a pay-per-view card.
No,
it'll be undercard on a free like a fight night.
Yep,
and just to see what happens. And if that's junk, see ya.
No joke.
See ya, kid.
Oh,
okay, hope you enjoyed the ride.
We got to hit the big one. We got to hit the DC one.
Oh my god!
I was not shocked he won. Now, so I had picked Stipe to win by knockout in the late third.
Yes.
You had picked DC to win by decision.
Yes.
Which would have been the fifth and whatever, all that. At halfway through the first round, I was like, there is no way this is going to decision.
They were not playing.
I was like, they both wanted it.
They were hungry. Yeah. They looked like champion fighters.
Yeah. So I was just like, instantly I was like, Jay's not winning this one. Even like I may not win it, but I was
look.
not
I
going to
didn't
decision.
realize how much bigger Stipe is than DC.
I know.
Till I saw them, and I'm like, wow, he makes DC look like a small man.
Yeah, 40-pound difference, 35.
That
40-pound
and just the
difference.
size of him, and
Yeah.
I was questioning too. I was sitting there with my girlfriend and her son and my dog. We were at a patio bar watching on outside, and finally, after that crap before that, finally the big fight's here, so we're like super excited, and Lisa's like, well, who are you cheering for? I'm like, I don't know. I like both these guys.
Me too, yeah.
And then I was kind of like, I don't know. I kind of feel like Stipe. I don't know. He's bigger than I thought. I think it's gonna be too much for DC maybe. But man, I was wrong. I mean, where did that come from?
I know.
Little right hook in the freaking dirty. I mean,
And I'm not gonna lie,
right out of the clinch.
Yeah, right when it happened, I was like, I
What
thought
are
it
you
was like a
doing?
forearm hit. I was like,
I
because it was
know.
too close to be elbow. I was like, what now? Forearm? What the hell did he hit him with? And they slow mo from the other angle.
Clean.
Bam! And you hear him talk after, and he was like, yeah, every time he comes out of that position,
Saw
he
it.
leaves
He's
himself
such
open.
a smart fighter. Stipe, man, I felt bad for him.
Yeah,
like
was
when he
pissed.
woke up, he could not. You could see the shock.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
He was like, well, no. I mean, he was so mad, and he's like yelling. Like I think he was yelling at the ref. Like you're fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't believe it.
And it wasn't, to let everybody listen, he wasn't challenging the stoppage of the fight at all.
No.
It was, he was internally
shocked.
that
He was in
got
shock.
knocked out
He
by
got
it.
knocked out.
Yeah.
I felt bad
Damn.
for him.
I
I
did
still
too.
love Stipe, man.
I don't care who won or who lost. I'm going to feel bad for who lost.
Yeah.
And
to lose like that in the first two.
I don't know. I would, as a fan, so I'm going to move everything. As a fan, I like to see people win clean like that.
Yeah.
Not that early. I'd like to see a little more bang in, a little more,
Yeah.
but I love a clean win.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I agree.
Because he had DC had
No
a little
question.
poke, but that was on the opposite side, so there's no way it came through blind. All that. I mean, it was just a clean win, so I appreciate that.
There's no question.
Yeah.
I just think the part I felt bad for Stipe
Yeah.
because I'm thinking of all this. First of all, like we talked about before, Stipe had everything on the line,
Yeah.
and you could see in his face he knew it. He came
Yeah.
out prepared. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
know he prepared his ass off for this fight. I have no question in my mind. He
Yeah.
looked like a man ready to defend his title. Like he looked strong.
Yeah.
And just to think of all that work he put into it, and then within 3 minutes and 30 seconds, it's over.
I know.
It's gone. And he may not get that back. There's a good chance he'll never get that back. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what DC is going to do.
I think he'll get it. I think he'll get it back because, as we learned after with all the press conferences and all the news that's leaked now, is the Lesnar was going to fight the winner of this no matter what.
I
There was
saw
no
that.
automatic second.
I saw that.
I think I don't like it at any level. I don't like
They,
it.
but what did we talk about before? What do they
Money.
need? Money and a superstar.
Yeah.
They need a superstar. And Lesnar came out. As soon as I saw him, because Lisa goes, "What's he doing there?"
Yeah,
and I was
he
like,
walks back in.
they're talking about him trying to come back into the UFC. This might be a little preview. And let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What did you think of all the theatrics in the cage after when Lesnar came into the cage?
Ridiculous, childish.
Yeah, I hated
immature.
it. Right?
Yeah.
It was too
Bad-
WWE.
Bad for the sport.
I hate when they do that.
Yeah.
Like, why are they doing that? We're not a WWE entertainment.
I don't disagree with calling him out the way he did. I don't disagree with him coming into the
Right.
octagon. I don't disagree with any of that. That has to be pre-planned. It has to be.
Oh, there's no
pre-planned.
question it was pre-planned.
Not that level.
I don't think they expected. Maybe they didn't expect Lesnar to do that
Correct.
because he's such a WWE guy. I think maybe he just felt that's just what he does.
You could see. So this is my speculation on it. Okay, now, so I'm going to put a little bit of my psychology and a little bit of my study of the human body and body language and everything in there.
Right.
It was all fun and games. And go back.
Until-
Everybody watch this. Lesnar walks into the ring.
Yeah.
He's fine.
He's
Step
smiling.
One,
DC smiling.
Step one, he's
Right.
fine. Step two, I think he's fine. Before his third step, you can watch it click. And you can call it theatrics. You could call it anything. It was the click. The blood, his face flushed. His eyes changed. Everything changed. Then he started to get vile. Then he pushed him and did all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, either the WWE guy came out of him or the rage, or he's still on shit, or I don't know, who knows, right? Yeah. Who knows what
It's a good question.
the hell's going on? But it was, and I was just like, that's bad.
Oh, he's
bad.
got USADA testing to deal with now,
Yeah.
so he's going to have to. I hated it.
I don't like it at all.
I hated it because I'm like, we're not WWE. Like, I like to call out in the cage. They've done that before. It's not the first time.
Yeah.
And it's okay, but let's be gentlemen. Let's be professional because this is a professional business.
Yeah.
And it's okay to play the bad guy, but like, there's no need for that. It was not necessary to promote that fight. You call him in. You know, I want you, big guy, whatever. Oh, you've got me. We're gonna do this, and then I'm looking. We're gonna have a great fight. You better be ready. I'm coming prepared.
And even do the like they do with the weigh-ins and having a little bit of that. Cool. But
I think the weigh-ins is legit. Like a lot of those times you see those guys, they're freaking amped.
Yeah.
It's the day before, and those butterflies are starting to kick in. They realize they're about to have to tangle with this guy. I think a lot of those, that's some real shit right there.
And it is. And so, long story short, I don't like. I'm not going to say Lesnar's a bad fighter, right? But when they started testing him, he lost 3 in a row.
I don't think he's a good fighter.
He is great in the sense of. Okay, y'all make fun of me. I was listening to a Portuguese commentation. Right?
Okay.
Because they're a little more animated than Joe. I hear Joe a lot.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So we listen to Portuguese, right? They were basically, to paraphrase what they said, is that it's an embarrassment to have Lesnar in the sport. And they're more purists, right, for this. Clearly, I mean, that's their thing, you know.
Right.
So they're like, Lesnar's bad for the sport, in quotations, and that, of course, if you bring a rhino into a cage, they're going to cause some damage. They're big, they're fat, and they've got a horn, so they're going to bump into somebody.
Yeah.
But they're not a fighter.
That's actually a very good
and I was just
analogy.
I was laughing. I thought it was hilarious.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing about Lesnar. That's accurate. He's a superhuman, right? We talk about the superhumans.
Yes.
He's a superhuman, and he's going to cause damage. I mean, he's a big guy. If he hits you, you can feel it. Like, he doesn't hit like Shane Carwin or anything like that, but you're still gonna. If he gets a hold of you in the wrong position, it's a problem. But he's not a true fighter. Like he's a. I know I think he was Division I wrestler or Division I.
He's a real wrestler. Yes, absolutely.
He's a legit collegiate wrestler at some point in his life. How long has that been for him now?
A long time.
You know, and he did fight for a few years in the UFC. Not even a few, I don't think.
I think it was about 2 years.
2 years.
Whatever, yeah.
So his experience is the entertainment show, the showbiz, the WWE, which is not fighting. Look, it's difficult.
It's athletic and it's harmful. It's difficult.
It's
not fighting.
very.
Right.
It's not fighting. It's not the same thing.
Right.
And he's not a true fighter. And so I honestly hope DC destroys him. I hope DC just destroys him and strangles him, or picks him up and does his just a bomb. I don't know if he's gonna pick him up. I mean, DC could. He's got the ability, but I don't know. I want him to destroy him.
I agree with you. And my last word on Lesnar coming into this, when he was fighting for the UFC before, I felt bad for other heavyweights because I was like, this isn't a show of skill. This is the avoidance of injury.
Yeah.
Lesnar is a dangerous fighter because he is not a skilled fighter.
Right.
And you get this, you roll with a white belt, you're like, you've got to be careful. And
it's true. Well, like a bigger guy like that.
Yeah.
Because
No,
you're 100% right. You have to, there's defense in the sense of protection, so you walk away that day and not end up, all messed up and trying to get a submission or whatever. Yeah. I was 100% right.
That was my whole thing. So now my whole deal right now is the same thing. I fear for DC's safety in that fight. DC is a better fighter than him, and anyone that tries to challenge that, they just don't know the sport.
I'm not even worried about his safety, to be honest with you. I think DC is such, and we've talked about it before, I have so much respect for that guy. He is such a skilled martial artist.
Yeah.
He's a martial artist.
Yeah. He actually is.
Well trained in multiple disciplines. He is, his wrestling is his base martial art. He is a martial artist. This is what he's done his whole life.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Brock Lesnar is the one that's going to have a problem because after the first round, DC can withstand his first round.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I have no doubt in that.
Yeah.
It's the second round when he's tired, and DC's not even going to be close to tired.
No.
That he's going to wreck him.
No. Oh, I got it. You said he is a mixed martial artist, right?
Yeah.
I was just so happy for DC.
Yeah.
That kick when he threw that left leg.
It got up there.
It went. His heel was. It didn't hit him because he stepped back.
But
it
he
was
got up
chin
there a little
level to
bit. He got
Stipe.
up there. I was a little shocked about
like,
that. It's funny that I forgot about that.
What did just?
He was. Yeah. DC was. Wow. He brought it up there a little bit, huh?
Yeah. I just sorry that popped into my head when you said that. I was like, dude threw a kick that went over 2 feet off the ground.
Yeah. DC's a great dude. What's he gonna do?
Well,
he'll
he'll have time to defend each. Because of the way
is
that
that
it works.
has he said? Because I
He
really
hasn't
have
said
not
he's
heard the last.
No.
So I just have not heard the post comments.
Yeah.
After the fight, next day he was out at the Springs all day, and then drive home, and then come back, get to sleep, get up, go to work, and then we were slammed at work. No time to really look. So he hasn't really said if he's going to
defend it or not. No.
You know, it would be pretty cool if he was able to, but I don't know how fair that would be to fighters in both weight classes, because how much time do you have to take off between each defense?
Right.
So how long does these fighters have to wait? I just feels like maybe that's not fair.
I think this. He's run the table in light heavyweight.
Yeah.
Minus Jones, right? The rumor mill is that Jones will come back as a heavyweight. So now they will meet. Effectively, so if you play this out,
no way.
DC beats Lesnar, then it's going to, depending on what Stipe wants, Stipe would kind of be in line, but then I would see Stipe Jones fight.
You think Stipe's got to, so when's Jones coming? Is he coming back that quick?
It's I think less than a year.
Wow. So then it could be a Stipe Jones.
That's what I'm saying. Stipe Jones fight. Jones would likely beat Stipe as a heavyweight.
I don't know.
I feel pretty confident in that. And I'm only saying that from the way he dealt with DC and how DC got Stipe.
Yeah,
on
I
that.
just think the issues with John Jones is the layoff over the last few years. Like how many times has he really fought?
Still training, dude. I don't know, man.
Yeah, but training and fighting.
Anyone else, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Jones, I don't know if I agree with that one.
Well, I agree, but you're still going against like Stipe's no joke. I mean, look.
True.
Here's the thing. DC caught him. They fight 10 more times. I don't know how those fights.
You get 10 different results.
You know what I mean? Like you don't know how those are going to break down.
Yeah.
He caught him. He caught him in a moment. Stipe will learn from that. Like promise you, Stipe's like shit. That's one habit I'm breaking this next training camp. So I don't know, man. Like Stipe's a big dude, and so I think that takes away some of the advantages. Plus, Stipe can wrestle. He can. John Jones can be taken down. It's not like he's not. You can't take him down. And Stipe's big enough. If he gets on top of John Jones, I think that's a problem for John Jones. I think that's a big problem. I don't think he can get up that easily from him. Yeah. I'm not saying he can't. He's still one of the greatest fighters of all time, and plus he's a little older. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't know.
But I would say that I would see that unfolding.
I hope
DC beats
so.
Lesnar. Stipe and Jones fight. Jones beats Stipe, and the nemesis fight. Talk about super fight. If that's how it plays out.
Wow, I hope it plays out like that. I do hope it plays out.
That would be. I think that would shadow anything Conor could possibly do. Anything like that would be it.
And what if DC beats Jones?
Then retire.
He
retire.
He wipes that loss and that no contest off his plate, and now there's no question.
Yeah, because heavyweight is DC's weight class.
Yeah. Well, if you're into eating cheeseburgers.
Well, I'm just
Good God! How about that dad bod? Man, how many cheeseburgers? He clearly just ate and trained and ate and trained. Like it's amazing to me that you can train as hard as you have to train for a fight, because you have to fucking train hard. You're burning thousands and thousands of calories training for a fight, and you still put on weight. Like that's insane to me.
He had the IV fats, man. I don't know how he did it, dude.
Intravenously inject fat. He must have been eating like 12,000 calories a day.
Oh, easy.
I wish I could see his diet. I wonder if he should have posted like on his Instagram or something what he eats all day while training for heavyweight. I would have loved it. It would have been amazing to watch that. It had to be like remember what was his name that won the Olympics like 15 times in swimming? Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps. Yeah. And they used to talk about his diet where he would open up with like 12 pancakes, and like he ate like 7,000 calories a day or something, but he burned like 10,000 calories a day. And so he was always super lean and trim. And I wonder, how much did DC have to eat?
A ridiculous amount.
I
Because
wish I
he's a
could see
big
it.
dude anyway.
He's not
So you gotta-
small.
yeah, he's not like, you're not trying to sustain 170 pounds like Phelps. Does that make sense?
No,
And
I
it's
don't
a-
know. I don't know. He should have
be
done
fun.
that. Hopefully, maybe for the next fight, he'll do that. Just
I'd
for
love
the
it, man.
joy. We need
Oh,
someone
I'd
needs to,
love it.
someone needs to tell that guy to please post this. It would be amazing.
I'm like, oh. So that's my hope, man.
That's pretty exciting. I hope that's what happens. I don't know if it does, but it makes sense if John Jones is coming back that quick.
I'll have to
Sure.
I meant to research it before, and I was looking at other stuff. And
It
totally
makes. I
forgot.
mean, I know they want Jones back.
Yeah.
They need him back. They need him back. They need that villain. I think that's why they're getting Lesnar, because he's a villain.
Yeah.
And he brings in that WWE audience, which is money.
Which is
and-
huge money for
viewers.
pay-per-view. Yeah.
So I think they have Lesnar for a couple fights, and then he's back out again.
Yeah, we'll see.
How old is Lesnar? He's got to be late 30s.
I was thinking he
Pushing.
was. I thought he was 40 or over.
Yeah,
but
he's
I'm
got
not
to be.
sure.
He's got to
Yeah.
be. He's not a young cat.
No.
So he's only got a couple fights left in him anyway. I hate that they just bring him in for championship fights. That just bugs the shit out of me.
I don't like it because then it. We've already talked about how I don't like the ranking system anyway.
Yeah.
But it shits on the ranking system.
It shits on it. It shits on guys who bust their ass and
Yeah.
work hard and are really good fucking fighters.
Yeah.
And it just, well, this guy brings in more numbers. So
But I'm going to say it this way. Next in line was Ngannou or Lewis.
yeah, well, they fucked that up.
All right. Give to Lesnar. You know,
I mean, that's a good point.
it's kind of one of the things. And
Yeah, the heavyweight division is kind of hurting.
it is.
There's not very many
Yeah.
guys that are in there that we're really looking forward to.
And it's hard. And they talked about a little bit of this on the Portuguese broadcast. Heavyweight's a tough division simply because of the damage that those bodies take. Because you're so heavy, and just the
Yeah.
training alone, the fake fighting because you're practicing, all this kind of stuff, is that you just take so much more damage to the body.
Right.
Your time to be a heavyweight, it's there. Stipe had 3 successful defenses, and that's the most ever in UFC heavyweight
That's
defenses.
crazy when you think about that.
You're like,
In 20, 25 years it is now. Well,
Yeah.
because how long have they had
Well,
divisions? The heavyweight division. When did they break?
15-ish
Yeah.
years.
I don't, think back, I don't even, that shows what kind of fan I am. When did they start breaking out the divisions?
Well, they had the divisions
first-
broken up anyway.
Well, the first 3 or 5.
No.
Right?
Back then, but since Zuffa and Dana White and all that kind
So
of stuff,
maybe
it's been
20 years?
divisioned. Well, isn't this the 20-year
This is
anniversary?
the 25th year
25th
anniversary of the UFC.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure they're 25 years.
So if they're counting the first
Well, let me
run,
think about this for a minute.
Yeah.
My brain's not working. Yeah, that's correct. Because I
Yeah.
was 19 when I remember watching the very first UFC, and that was pre
so they're
Zuffa.
bunching the two together.
Yeah, they're adding
So,
it as all one.
18 to 20 years.
They've had divisions.
Yeah. So
Okay.
just over 15 years of having a heavyweight.
Why do they have a 265 cap? I've never understood that either.
I'm sure that has to do with the states.
Maybe
athletic
so. That would
commissions.
okay. It seems like I was just curious where that number came
Yeah.
from. 265 cap on the heavyweights.
'Cause I don't
They
even
got to
like you-
fix these divisions. I think that there's just. I know they've talked about it before, but they don't make sense. Some of them they've got like 25 pound differences in some of these
Yeah.
divisions, or 15 pounds and 20 pounds, and
What's
then
the,
you got 10. And
do you
then
know off the top of your head the cut for the lowest end for heavyweight? Is it 205?
I don't know what the low end is. I would just assume it would be north of 205.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's 205.
Yeah, it would be like
So you could-
206.
Right. You have somebody that's 206 fighting somebody who's 265.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And don't get me wrong. I get irritated with boxing with having 100,000 weight
Yeah.
classes and every 6 pounds is a weight class. And
Right.
I get a little fed up with that. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. But 206 to 265
That's too much.
That's a
What's like 185 to 205?
right.
You tell me there's not room for another division?
That's close. That's closer. That's like makes it.
Still though, 20 pounds
Does that make
is a
sense?
lot of weight.
Like if you added one division, then everything gets bumped a little bit, and I think that's the correction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I
So
do.
if
I
you
just think
said-
there needs to be some readjustment.
Yeah. So if you said 185 to 200, even though it's only a 5 pound difference,
That's a big difference.
Now I'm like, oh yeah.
You're within 15.
I don't even think
15's
about
that's legit. I
Yeah.
can see 15. But because it's 170 to 185,
Yeah.
right? So that's that seems everybody seems to be cool with that. It's a little there's some in betweeners in there.
Roughly, what do you weigh?
Right now like 173 probably right now.
Okay, so then we would. I was like, because we would be in the same class.
Yeah.
But no.
But I'm heavy right now, so I'm still cutting. But I'll get down about within the next month. I'll be down like 163.
Yeah.
Ish.
Okay.
So normally I'm in like mid 160s. I'm just getting older and just getting harder to lose this weight.
Yeah.
I'm having to stop eating some things. It's becoming annoying.
No, I'm with you
Getting
too.
older is becoming annoying.
Different reasons, but I'm with you. I'm like,
Yeah.
Can I just have that, please?
Well, like we went to go eat the other day, and he had a big old plate of nachos. I was looking at you
yeah.
like, man, I fucking hate you so much.
But that's my thing. But I pay for it for 3-4 days
it
after
looks
that.
so
you
good.
know? Yeah.
I got an argument with my girlfriend about this because, I don't know. We were talking about eating, and I mean, you met her, and she's super lean and fit, and but she works out hard and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But still, she does not like eat perfect. Like she'll freaking eat her chips and a cheeseburger here and there and whatever, right? And I can't. Like shit. If I eat like her, when I do eat like her, I get on that track. I start gaining weight. I'm like, I can't eat like this. I just can't do it. Even though I'm training and all that stuff, it doesn't matter. It still puts weight on me. So, and I know some of that's me getting older, but yeah, some people can they just have a little more give in what they can eat, I think.
Yeah.
She used to try to argue with me about that. No, it's just an excuse. No, bullshit.
It's
I know the
not an
difference.
excuse.
There's not an excuse. This is
And
legit.
that goes in. You could probably, in quotations, eat like that.
Right.
It would just have to be different things.
Right.
Does that make sense?
So, no,
you're
give me an
more
example.
you're more reactive to some of the things that you guys are cheating on.
The stuff I like.
Probably. Yeah, I'm just being honest. Probably, yes. And that's where you get into, because, I always laugh. I've basically been modified keto for 15, 20 years.
Right.
And because before keto was cool and all that kind of stuff. And you hear low carb. I'm like, fuck. And I had to go, because I was doing this stuff before Atkins came around.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So then I've got to live through,
through,
you're eating Atkins. Oh, you dumb bum. I'm going to get all pissed off. No, I'm not.
This is just how I eat.
Right. And there's reasons for it, not necessarily based on performance or trying to be lean and things like that, because my PTSD and TBI and all those things, and inflammatory stuff. And I've learned a lot, and I've made adjustments of like 10 to 15%, because that's really all there is to make over the last year. And I've had tremendous improvements on all of my stuff just based on those little things. So I'm thinking, when you splurge, or whatever, binge or overeat or treat or whatever you want to call it, if you're reactive to some things and you're having little bits all the time, but then you dump a big one on it, you're gonna feel it, dude. It's gonna kill you for a week, man.
For a week? For about a year and a half now.
Yeah. Like you got, we're like, but And
I know what you mean. I understand what you're saying. I have a lot to learn about diet, and even though I've been playing with it for a few years now, it's tough, man.
It is tough.
It's tough. It's not a joke.
It's hard, dude. Like, because what I do, it's so fucking hard.
I can't imagine.
You got to make everything. I can't take shit out of a package.
Yeah.
That is so frustrating.
I'm better. Like my girlfriend's helped me out with that a lot, because she does a lot of cooking, a lot. So she'll prep meals, and she'll prep my meals all the way up through Worlds this year. She always does.
So that helps.
Oh, it helps a lot. Problem is, I have a partner that likes to go out to eat, and trying to convince him, like, hey man, I can't.
You gotta watch.
I get that look, like, all right, I'll go with you. I'll find something healthy on there. It's tough. It's tough, man. So I've modified it. I'm adding in fasting in the evenings at night. So at least 12. What time is it now? It's 8. So like 12 to 14 hours.
Yeah.
I'm getting in there about fasting.
You want that 14, man.
Yeah, the 14 is a trick, because I try to time it. Not necessarily. I just try to make sure I'm not eating in the evening and at night.
Yeah.
So that my body's burning, and then I wake up freaking hungry and ready to go.
Yeah.
And then that helps me. She hates it when I do that, by the way, because she's sold on the idea of eating the meals every 3 hours and continuously, which works really well for her.
It doesn't work poorly for a lot of people.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But the thing is if you have inflammatory markers, if you're reacting to some of the things you're eating, or even those types of deals, sometimes just eating a bunch all the day is reactive to some people. And you give it that 14-hour break.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it every day.
Yeah.
But you give it that 14-hour break. It gives the body a chance to kind of take a deep breath.
Well, I feel it when I do, when I actually hit that modified fast, or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
I feel better. Like I literally feel lighter. I just feel better. I feel leaner as soon as I woke up. I just feel better. Like I really enjoy it doing it.
Yeah.
Even though it's that first few times you do it, you're like, oh, I want to eat something. But
just because you're thinking about it, you know,
yes,
it's a psychological thing.
But then after a couple days, 2 or 3 days, and you're okay with it, and you like that feeling when you wake up.
Yeah.
So you like look forward to, I want to wake up, I want to have my eggs and my freaking caffeine, and I want to go hit the gym. I want to feel great, and you know you're gonna feel great
because you will.
Yeah.
And for people listening, that doesn't mean caloric restriction.
No.
You're still eating the same number of calories,
a smaller amount of time,
just in a shorter window.
Yeah.
In a 10-hour window instead of a 14-hour window.
Yeah, which is not hard. And that's when I learned about this. It was like, oh, this is awesome because you sleep a good portion of that.
Yeah.
So you're only not eating a few hours a day. It's not a big deal.
It's really not that bad.
Yeah.
And then some people will take it extreme and they'll go full 24 hours every once in a while, once maybe twice a month type.
I don't think I've ever done that. I mean, maybe in the military I did it through because I had no choice. Well, but I don't. Yeah, I mean, like short of that, I've
try to erase those days.
Yeah, those the military.
Oh.
Some rough days in there.
Fucking 18 up, 2 down, and all that kind of bullshit.
Man, I think back to that where we used to just stay up for days with like 30-minute and hour-long naps here and there. Like I don't know how the hell I did that because now, some friend of mine was asking me today, what time do you go to bed? Because they're calling me after 10:30 because they're used to be being up at night.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit. Before 10 o'clock, I am in bed. The covers are pulled up, and I'm getting my head tucked into my pillow. As if you call me at 10:05, I promise you I'm not answering. I'm out. Yeah. And, I don't know how I lived without 7 to 8 hours of sleep before. I have no idea.
Crazy, just robots.
Yeah, I guess so. MREs.
Like,
I'm bringing back memories.
There were so many times I was like, I just wish I had an MRE. Like, fuck.
I bet, right?
You know, you're stuck down somewhere. You hunkered in. You can't do anything. You got to be so quiet, silent, and you're like.
Well, I never got to that level.
You're like, fucking. There's a lizard. Eat that motherfucker. I'm gonna eat that.
You could cook it.
You're like looking around. Cook.
Rubbery chicken.
Bitch, what do you mean cook?
Get a lighter. Pinch off the head.
Yeah.
Split it open.
Like, oh man. And it was this sounds gross for some people, right? But having a lot of Asian foods growing up, my favorite was anything that we did coastal, because you grab a little baby octopus.
Is it good?
It's good, fresh.
It's like rubbery chicken.
Close to the texture of chicken, but more of like a maybe like a swordfish steak.
Right.
Almost like that type of a flavor. We still have a little bit of the salty, from salt water, ocean water, seawater type thing. But because it'll pretty much contract in, so it gets a little tougher. And the weird thing, the suckers are a little bit weird, but
I don't know.
When you're hungry, dude.
Oh, well, yeah, when you're hungry, you'll eat.
Yeah.
Just about anything, right?
But that's, way off topic.
That's true.
Blessed.
Hey, has he announced who he's going to pick for SCOTUS for the
I think it's going on now.
Man, I'm like, who do you think he's going to pick?
I don't know. Everybody's saying, avoid names because I don't know what kind of bots they have fucking this shit.
Oh, okay.
The lady, I think, is the number one.
I think so too.
Speculatory pick.
I think so too.
My concern with her is she is new to the courts relatively.
Yeah, I think she had 8 months on. I don't know.
They keep saying a year.
How it works.
Yeah.
But the federal court system or whatever. She's young though.
She's young. She's been at it about a year, so that's going to be a problem
right.
for the confirmations. The second problem is at some event, not publicly out, but at some event she spoke against abortion.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact quote because you get so many different.
Catholic, so that's automatic.
And then now in her rulings, again, super limited sample size, it doesn't appear that she has made any decision that has been influenced by her personal beliefs or her religion or things of that nature. Everything has been in line with the law. And you can get into interpretations, and I understand that, but she hasn't proven that she's one that will legislate from the bench. So I like that.
Yes.
And then being young, she'll be at the lowest end of the totem pole in the court, so she's going to be looking up to some of the other ones. Like Justice Roberts, I like him a lot.
Yeah.
He's very much, he is conservative, but he's not gone with the president all the time.
Right.
And he's just like, no, this is what it says. This is the law. This is
Right.
I don't like it, but this is the law. So that's what
Right.
what it is.
Yeah.
And kick things back. And she'll have good mentors. And if she is the selection, she will probably get confirmed because McConnell said he's going to do the nuclear option again.
Oh no, whoever he
Senate.
picks will get confirmed.
Yeah.
Like the Democrats they have nothing they can do.
Yeah.
And they did it to themselves, frankly. But it's interesting. I think he's going to pick the woman.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to do it for two reasons. I think it's a female.
Yes.
Okay, and they're all four equally qualified. Let's just put that out there. So if you're taking all, they all have their different strengths and weaknesses.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. They all have a little bit of difference. You see a little bit of different opinions on each one, but they're all relatively pretty conservative. And I just think he's gonna pick the female because it's a female, and it'll piss them off even more than if it was a white male.
Yeah.
I think I hate to say it, but not because she's not Emily, because I think she is, and it's the one I hope he picks.
She is qualified. I think she would be great.
I think she'd be fantastic. She'd be on the court for
a long time.
40 years,
Yeah.
35, 40 years. So that's a long-term pick. And you're talking about young conservatives on the court, too.
Yeah.
You know, with Roberts, with her, with how old is Gorsuch? He's not that
older, but he's not very old.
He's not old.
They were saying he's got probably 20 years.
Yeah,
on the
so
court,
you're talking,
so.
that's 3 solid. Clarence Thomas, he's getting older, but he's still got a little bit of time left. But you're looking at Ginsburg's almost done. Like she's hanging on with her nails, just like I'm not going in the next 6 years.
All the political comics and stuff coming out on that.
Oh man, if
Correct,
the only way she leaves there is in a box because she is not. She's not letting go till a Democrat's president. I'm surprised she didn't let go when Obama was president. Honestly.
They thought she was going to.
Yeah,
but I think it was the same thing as before. It's too close to the end, and we saw what happened. And, the Republicans.
So I hope they pick. I hope he picks her. I think is the one it pisses off the liberals the most.
Yeah.
Of all 4 of them, they're the ones that she's the one that they will lose their minds over more than anybody else. And you're going to hear some crazy, horrible statements from Democrats.
Oh, get ready for it. Yeah.
It's going to be. It just seems like the liberals, the more outraged they get over whatever it is. Right now, it's abortion. For liberals, abortion's basically, it's like it might as well be one of the 10 commandments to them because it is untouchable in their minds when it's not untouchable. It's not. Everything I understand, and I'm not a legal scholar, is it's actually a very poor ruling, and there's very poor basis for the ruling itself. So it's one of those laws that's actually ripe to be overturned under the right circumstances. And so it's not. There's no such thing as set law. Like I hate when I hear this.
Yeah.
Okay, Dred Scott was set law at one point. You know what I mean? Get over that.
In that, very quick on the whole set law thing. And if whoever gets confirmed, right? Because it'll be one of Trump's people, and so conservative and all these things. To take the rumors out of it, the myths out of it, the court can't seek out things to opine on.
Right.
It has to come to them.
Right.
So people, we're worried about abortion. It's still going to have to be something that's filed locally, gone to state level, gone to regional level, go through federal level courts, 1, 2, 3 appeals courts I think it has to go through.
Right.
Roughly.
Right.
I could be a little off with this. I'm just going on speaking out of my ass right now. And then it gets presented to the Supreme Court for them to potentially take it.
Well, they get to choose what they pick. So the Supreme Court chooses So here's the thing. I know that with a lot of laws, you have. So everybody just assumes that this court case just happened to go through the system. Sometimes yes, that's true. Yeah. But there's a lot of laws that are constantly being challenged. Roe versus Wade is one of them. Yeah. And there's laws on the other, like Second Amendment laws that are constantly being challenged too. Like pro-Second Amendment laws are constantly being challenged. There's always someone filing suit, trying to. And these are not a person, not an individual. We're talking groups. Yeah. We're talking PACs. We're talking these groups who are anti-Second Amendment groups. Mm-hmm. These are well-funded, high-priced, very powerful attorneys are part of these groups, are finding cases, going to people and using these cases, or trying to set up cases to take to the Supreme Court, like intentionally. It's not like it just happens,
right?
And groups on the right are doing the same thing with Roe v. Wade.
Yeah. Left, right, middle, everyone.
So I think what they're concerned about, and especially if you've seen the latest rulings, it's been 5-4.
Yeah.
But with Kennedy, it's going to the right. It's been conservative. It's ruling on the side that conservatives were hoping for the ruling to go to. I think the concern is with this continuing trend, those Roe v. Wade cases that are coming up are going to start getting accepted.
Yeah.
And when they get accepted, start nicking away at what kind of abortions allowed federally. And I think nick it more and nick it more and nick it more until it's either outright banned or it's so restricted that there's very few cases where it's allowed. I think that's what the left is afraid of, and I think rightfully so. Now, personally, not a pro-abortion guy. We got sound?
No, we're good. I was just.
Oh yeah. Personally, I'm anti-abortion.
Yeah.
I'm anti-abortion. So I do think the left, if that's what they're concerned about, they probably should be. But honestly, I don't think there's anything they can do about it.
So we'll get into this. I think, touch on abortion a little bit and women's choice and personal rights and all these kinds of deals that are intertwined with this. I feel like pushing all of the legislation aside and looking at it, I think abortion, for the wrong words people understand, was legalized for a means of safety, because they knew, the courts knew, our government knows, if you continue a prohibition on abortion, they're going to do it illegally. It's dangerous. You're looking at more harm. You're looking at all these things.
Right.
I get it. Even, when this was done, birth control really was around, but it wasn't that great even then.
Right.
And then it was just one of those things that kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Because this is a little bit of my opinion. I think we can't make a clean determination because we cannot quantify when the beginning of life is. We can't significantly state in a scientific manner what is the beginning of life.
Yeah, I disagree. And I think this is my personal opinion.
Yeah.
That's a sellout argument. It's a sellout argument because we all know, if we truly think about it, if you're common sense, I think you damn well know the minute that sperm penetrates that egg, that's the beginning of life. Everybody fucking knows it. It's not. It's just. It's
kind of.
Well, if you want to start getting into splicing hairs on how many cells equals a life, no, one cell equals a life. Life is life. Like you start to split hairs. Well, when is it human life? It's a human life unless you interrupt it. It's a human life unless you stop it. I don't think there's a question. It's just become such a topic of. And this is not coming from a religious person. No, I'm an atheist.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with religious arguments. This is just a pro-life person. This is just a person that believes in life. That's when life begins. I mean, we all know that's when life begins. That's how we all exist. We were all that egg at one point. That we were all that one single cell that grew up in a four. That we went through biology class.
Yeah.
But we were all there. Like, it's just because we're in this form now. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree. And to be clear, so people are listening, and if anyone's watching on this part of it, I'm pro-life. You're pro-life.
Right.
State that just so people understand.
It's coming from a slanted point of view because you couldn't tell.
Right. Well, I just want to be clear. And I like, obviously coming from the world of science and things of that nature, I like to look at things and say, every time some potentials and opposite sides of arguments.
Yeah.
Every time the sperm penetrates the perimeter of the egg and fertilizes the egg, is the potential for human life.
Right.
Like, we know a very high percentage of fertilized eggs self-abort.
True.
To the point that sometimes they don't even know they're pregnant.
True.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so you
absolutely.
Take that first 6 weeks of pregnancy. Think of how many times, this is in people listening, how many times you've heard a lady say, oh, I was just a couple weeks late and it was real heavy.
Yeah.
No, you were pregnant and you just had a self-abortion, or it self-aborted, and so that's why you were heavy.
Right.
'Cause things were building up because of the potential life, right? So then it is, okay, well, does life effectively begin there, or does life begin when the unmeasurable consciousness is introduced?
Well, we don't know. But we don't. Consciousness is that nobody even understands consciousness.
Right.
It doesn't matter. The most brilliant neuroscientists in the world cannot explain to you consciousness. Right. No one knows. They don't know where it comes from. They don't understand it.
Right.
That's like it's one of the great questions that science has yet to answer yet. Right. But that being said, if you want to go back a little bit on the potential for life, it is life now because the body decides, because of the natural human process, for whatever reason, aborted the child or whatever happened there. That's a natural process, just like a stillborn baby, just like a baby that dies in the womb within a few months. I mean, that happens throughout the entire process.
Here's something to think at that point. So I like taking it in stages and breaking it down. Is it a natural process, or is the mother making decisions with her diet and ingesting alcohol and drugs and other toxins, making that decision?
I think it's a natural process.
Does that make sense what I'm saying?
But that's a natural process, right? Because the mother, if you have an unhealthy mother, then she's less. I mean, that's what that's the history of I'm trying to think of the right term, but our development as humans, right?
Of evolution,
of natural selection, maybe not natural selection. Well, it is kind of natural selection. The strongest of our species, the ones that have the best ability to survive, continue to propagate.
Right.
And those are the ones that move on.
Yeah.
Not to get into the weeds with, because again, I'm not scientist on natural selection, but that's my basic understanding is that, the ones who are the strongest and have the best life skills are the ones that keep moving on. Right. And those of us who aren't, their line stops. And so anyway, so that would kind of lead, that's kind of the natural processes, right? I think that's part of the natural process. If you take a medical procedure to end the life, that you're introducing an outside, you're taking an intentional step to kill that life. That's, and to me, it's
agree.
Murder. It's just murder. I to say it's not, I think it's a disingenuous argument. It's not intellectually honest. If you have to splice hairs with it, you're not being intellectually honest.
Yeah,
that's my opinion. And now it's not necessarily a popular opinion, because there's a lot of people that believe abortion should be illegal.
Yeah, no,
it's a huge issue in our country, and around the world in many places. But let's not. And if you want to, we could get into when did abortion really start getting pushed in America?
That's a whole.
Well, no one wants to talk about that. As a form of eugenics, basically.
And so is it will come in as where we are now is it's going to be challenged. Right?
Yeah, I think you're going to see more challenges.
More challenges, and at some point it will be challenged. Maybe not during Trump's presidency. Maybe if he's reelected, of course, maybe in that time frame. But I think you're looking, it's a decent number of years off.
Yeah, I agree.
Before a legit challenge comes up. What do you think is a potential solution or counter to that? So my body, my choice.
This is my opinion, because you brought up something earlier where they were worried about the big thing was safety. People are going to be in the back alleys taking coat hangers and committing self-abortions, or having these crazy, insane doctors do them in little bitty clinics.
Now, I don't think that would be the case now. If it happened today,
I'm sure there would be. There would still be back. There would still be abortions done a little bit undercover. There would be doctors offering that, but I don't think that makes it okay. I don't think just because illegal behavior may ensue when you pass a law, doesn't mean you don't pass the law. When it becomes to something of this magnitude of protection of life, I think that doesn't mean people will do it in a more dangerous way. Okay, we'll arrest them. Yeah, they'll go to jail. Right, and then hopefully we'll deter people from wanting to do things that are dangerous and illegal, because that's what we do in a country with law and order. So that's my opinion on that.
So take contraception.
Right.
Birth control, and this potential male birth control that's coming around the corner is being tested right now. Condoms.
I got male birth control.
Well, snip, snip.
That's your damn right. Anyway.
So all of these things in play, you're going to, if you're going to challenge people who are pro-choice, you're going to have to win them over with viable alternatives.
Right.
Does that make sense? So
Well,
we know we have things like,
yeah.
and this is controversial, but what are these shit? I think this: if a girl is raped,
Right.
and they're doing the rape kit, in that rape kit is a little pouch with a pill. That's the morning after pill.
Right.
You can call that evil. You can call that bad. You can call these things, but let's not allow it to occur.
Right.
Like, let's not get to the point of, do we have to have an abortion or not?
Right.
Let's just the morning after pill.
Right.
Is it possible that the egg was fertilized at that point? There's a possibility, but we don't know. It won't detect on any test we have.
Right.
So there, like, it's a clean, you're done.
Right.
That's one potential, because you always hear, it's like, okay, well, what about rapes? What about all these other things? You're not going to get every rape, because there's teenagers that get raped and nobody knows for years.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So it doesn't cure all of them by any means.
Right.
I don't want to pretend that that's what I'm saying, but have those things offered, have those things readily available. Emergency rooms, open up the spectrum of people being able to get those without a prescription, possibly.
Yeah.
Do it like they do Sudafed and all those other things. It's attached to their ID. There's always ways around it, right? But here, great, you get one, but you don't get more than one a month or some kind of something, right? So you help control it. So you're giving alternatives. I don't know how to fix it, because a lot of people use abortions as birth control.
I wonder what the stats are. I've heard this.
It's not an insane amount. And
I agree that there are people that probably, well, I'll just get an abortion.
Right.
But I wonder what the actual numbers of people who do that are.
I could be wrong. We're going to look as soon as we get off. I think it's 12% of all.
That's high, though. That's higher than I expected.
But you got to remember, it's speculatory.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to know. It's not like someone's going to. How many people are going to admit on a form?
So
it's my go-to.
Right, you're guessing.
It's my backup plan.
Yeah. Well, there was some girl that died recently that wound up from complications from an abortion, and she had wound up having 9 or more. I fucked the whole story up. 9 or more abortions in some like 2 year, 3 year. Like, it was a really short period of time. So clearly, she was clearly using that as
a morally bankrupt person.
And then you get into things, because I looked a little bit into this over the years. You get into situations to where there's people here in America from other cultures, and the wife, it's an abusive situation.
Right.
The wife can't leave, and she keeps getting pregnant because they're not allowed, because of beliefs from where they're from, to take contraception or use birth control and all these other things. So they wind up getting pregnant, and it's easier to slip away for a day and get an abortion than to come back. So they're using abortion as birth control, but they're actually kind of protecting the situation, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's okay, because I agree with you, it's murder.
Right.
Like, they're killing, but it's like, I get it. I have sympathy for that.
Well, life is complicated. Life is difficult. We live in these complicated relationships. We live in complicated situations.
Yeah.
And these are decisions that are presented to people all the time. And no one said life was easy.
Yeah.
I'm not heartless in the sense of, well, I don't care if you got raped. It's tough. It's a baby. It's a potential baby. I get it. Like I said, I'm not saying that to outright ban abortion. I get that there are situations where it may be the best thing.
Yeah.
As horrible, but let's not sanitize it.
Oh, exactly. I agree.
You know what I mean? Let's not act like it's not what it is, because
Right.
we know what it is.
Right.
Now, we live in a harsh world, and sometimes harsh decisions have to be made. So I understand that. I totally do. But this thing where people get an abortion out of convenience because it's not a convenient time.
Yeah.
Well, that's life. You don't get to end life because it's
didn't mean for it to happen.
inconvenient. I'm in college. I can't do this now.
Then don't have unprotected sex.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
those are the things that really bother me. Because I'm like, whoa, you're committing murder because it's inconvenient.
Because you had a drunk one night stand.
In this day and age, there's no reason to get pregnant if you're not even just a little bit careful.
Right.
It's not difficult. Yeah. So that's my position. So personally, I hope Roe v. Wade gets overturned. I want to
see. I hate to use the word overturned
or corrected.
Modified.
Might be a better term.
Something does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I think when you say the word overturn, it winds up sparking some emotional responses.
Yeah.
And again, I'm with you. I'm not heartless on it. Like, I get their situations that just fucking suck.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and
bad choice has to be made.
we've all lived in situations where you're like,
Yeah.
I got to cut a hand off. Which one?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like, all right, that one. You
Yeah.
know, and it's just you just do the best you can with it. So I get it. So I think modify changes a good.
Yeah, I think it's coming. I do think it's coming. I think with the way the direction of the court right now.
Yeah.
I think it's coming, and I think if liberals keep acting insane like they've been doing, because look, I don't know what's going on with the left. If Trump has driven them, I think it's two things. Honestly, I think it's two things.
Yeah.
One, it was Obama in office for 8 years. Obama was left. Obama was a leftist.
Yes. Yes.
He was very articulate and
had great charisma.
And he did not say it outright. He had a very smooth way of expressing his point of view without actually telling you what he was talking about.
Correct.
So it was very deceptive, but he was on the left. Let's be going. He was on the as far as the old Democrat Party goes. I mean, old as in 90s.
Yeah. He
was over here on the left.
Yes.
And that I think drove the party more to the left. The way that they pulled money and their voters that they targeted, their base kept shifting left under Obama.
Yeah.
And I think this weird thing has happened with Trump being elected. I think one, they got way too arrogant and too high on their horse with Obama in office, thinking that it doesn't matter who we put in, the next person's automatically going to be elected.
Yeah.
They saw Trump and they thought there's no way this idiot's getting elected.
I was one of those people.
I thought so too. I thought so too. I thought, well, here goes Hillary.
Yep.
And then, but he got elected, and he has been as good as advertised. He has driven them further to the left because they don't. Yeah. They have created a situation where they've boxed themselves in.
Yes.
To as far as Trump goes, anything coming from Trump is evil because you name him Hitler, you name him the devil incarnate, then anything he does you can't agree with.
Yeah.
Like that's what you've set. That's the box you've put yourself in. That's why you have them calling MS-13 members and Hamas humans, and they're misunderstood because you've put him over here.
Yeah.
And you've made everything he says evil. So all it's doing, I think, it's driving their base further and further left in that hyper rhetoric that is just insane.
So this is some of the things I've heard. We listen to Rogan a ton,
right?
And then spinoffs from him and some of the guests that he's had. And I'm going to paraphrase and jump a bunch of this together. I liked it when I heard it because it made sense to me. Is that in the history of humanity, recorded history, we have a few occurrences to where we understand the limit going right. Okay, so I'm going to use Hitler as the example because he's the one everybody.
Right.
That we know the boundaries. We're like, okay, there was step 1, step 2, step 3, then Hitler.
Right.
We know what those boundaries are there. To the left, we don't know what the boundaries are.
Well, if you look at, so let's look at it. You've got Soviet Union, you got China. Soviet Union murdered
millions.
50 million under Stalin, maybe. They don't know. They don't know, right? They don't know. But the estimates are very high. People murdered and starved to death under Stalin rule. Yeah. China, 25 million, maybe more. No, I take it back. Maybe 100 million.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got the numbers wrong.
I think it was as high as 125 million.
Up to over 100 million murdered and starved. That's communism, folks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true communism.
That really is, when you put everything together, that's not what the left is saying they want. That's really right. When you start breaking things in, is they get there going the right side of things.
I think you see it. I think you see the actions as far as the left moving further and further left. Yeah. You see it. You see it in their speech, how they attempt to shut down speech who disagrees with them. They don't allow speech, which challenges their point of view.
Do you think it's spherical in the sense that there is an extreme thing here?
It's true.
And that you get there either going extreme left or right.
So that's what's taught, right?
Right.
That's what's taught in Political Science 101, that the political spectrum is not this way, it's this way. So the further out you get, then the more they start to converge. Yeah. Which makes sense, because the more powerful one side gets, either side, the more they shut down speech and anything that could not contradict, but anything that could challenge their authority.
Yeah.
So and it's happened in our country. It's happened before under Woodrow Wilson. It's
Yeah.
happened before under FDR. Both lefty presidents, by the way. It's happened before, right? I think under Teddy Roosevelt, actually, he was on the right, but he did some things that were a little bit questionable.
He took a few, especially towards the end, when now we know that he was sick. But
he did some questionable things. We've seen it a little bit in our country, but the way our system is kind of set up, we don't let someone stay in power too long.
Right.
The checks and balances, the seesawing back and forth, it kind of protects us a little bit.
a lot of it.
A lot bit.
Yeah.
And I think for the most part we're okay, but we got to be careful because we keep letting our central government get stronger and more powerful. And then what you're having is we're having almost like this oligarchy that rules us. You're talking about a couple thousand people that are ruling 330, 40 million people, whatever our population is now. And it's kind of what we've got going on a little bit. And I'd like to see a lot of that power redistributed back to the states and localities, because that's really where our country was designed to do and what made it pretty successful and gave a lot of liberty, freedom to people. But
And
I agree with you.
I agree with.
You know, the weird argument I hear about Nazism being a far right thing, but the thing is not. Nazism was socialism. It was a national socialism. So it was like a weird hybrid. It wasn't like your typical.
Yeah, it doesn't fit into the puzzle piece perfectly.
Right, you know what I
kinda
mean?
have
It's
to-
like a weird thing. It's the same thing with fascism. Fascism was like a weird hybrid where they still were taking over industries. They're with fascism, in Italy, the government was taking over industries. Like it was socializing industries.
yeah.
So it's like a weird thing, and I think with capitalism gone amok is maybe where you see corporatism kind of take over your government structures, which we're kind of dealing with that a little bit on that.
A pretty good amount right now.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly we know that with lobbyists and
Yeah. So when you look at it like that, I guess there you see that.
So I want to hit that because you used the word socialism. We had the congresswoman in New York get elected.
Ocasio, whatever. Cortez.
Yes,
Ocasio-Cortez. That's right.
Ran on a socialist platform.
Yeah, she did.
Hit the streets, hustled, got elected. Is for basic universal income.
Right.
Universal basic income. Sorry, said that backwards. Free tuition.
Right.
For universities.
For everybody.
Free healthcare for everyone.
Yeah.
All these things, right?
Right.
Which in small countries can be modeled to be successful. In small countries that aren't required to have a self-defense or national defense budget, thanks to the United States of America.
Yeah.
Just being honest.
100%.
So in any of these things, people listen and watching. If you can't be honest in the discussion, don't be in the discussion.
Yeah.
So you have to be honest about the discussion. So this is some of the stuff that I'm going to throw a little bit out there and get your opinion on few of those points. Free university. Okay. We have free public schools right now.
Yeah.
We're going to turn our universities into our public school system.
Well, look at Europe.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, why don't we just say that's a great concept and let's take that concept and try to fix our public schools right now before we touch the universities? Maybe put some regulations or maybe do some things to kind of keep the universities in check because they're out of hand. I mean, you shouldn't have to have a triple mortgage to go through university if you qualify.
That is an issue.
But so maybe throw some things to put some checks on the universities, ease it up, don't let crazy interest rates on loans, and anyway, all that. Let's fix our public school system. That's kind of my thing.
Yeah.
And if we can fix that, then now let's start to explore expanding it. But as bullshit as that is right now, get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, no. And then universal basic income. If you did that now, I'll give you a quick stat because I think it's crap. I'm kind of back and forth right now where I am with it. I think it's total crap. If you gave everyone in America $1,000 a month, okay, which isn't enough to live on, but it's enough that would help a few people.
Right.
It would almost double, just shy of doubling our current expenditures on welfare. Our current expenditures on welfare are about $3 trillion a year. No, with it would be about $3 trillion a year, and it would be about a $1.5 trillion, just shy of $1.5 trillion increase.
Right.
With the basic income. So it's like 1.6 now, and it would be 3. So not exactly 50%, but very close to 50% increase. And then the last little bit on that, how do you fund it? The wealthy go up to 55% tax rate.
Okay.
You expand and increase the tax rate on estates. So when, like, if you die and you're passing something along, death tax, or the death tax
Right.
that's been called so many times, and then you expand and tax financial exchanges for investments. So anytime you invest in something,
Right.
you also have to pay additional
Right.
taxes and
Well,
fees
we already
and things
paid-
that would go.
They already paid pretty high on. They were up to 35% on that, weren't they? Capital gains.
30, 35.
But they brought it down. Have they brought it down? I know
think they brought
wanted,
it-
they argued to bring it down to 15.
It didn't get there.
Yeah, which would be similar to other similar
Right.
westernized countries. They don't kill their investments.
Right.
Um,
So some of those things. So what do you?
right.
I mean, just kind of.
So, okay. So first of all, free university is bullshit. And let me tell you why that's bullshit. Not because, well, let me give you two reasons. One, not everybody needs to go to college. I don't know where, at what point college became the go-to for success and everybody has to go to college, but that's not how a society works.
Right.
We don't need college to be a plumber.
Right.
And guess what? Plumbers are really fucking important. And they make good money, by the way.
They make really good money.
You don't need to go to college to be an electrician. You don't need to go to college to do a ton of very important, good jobs.
Yeah.
Good jobs. It's not necessary. College, I don't think college is built for that. College
Right.
should be built for higher learning, for those types of jobs that require those types of education. Doctors, lawyers.
Yeah.
Although I argue that lawyer, I think you probably don't need that much schooling to be a lawyer, to be honest with you. But we'll take that out of there. But anyway, no. But so doctors, lawyers, etc. There's jobs which require mechanical engineers, biochemical engineers.
Yeah.
Those are jobs that require a lot of schooling, purposeful schooling.
Yeah.
Not bullshit courses to make a university money, which is you get a lot of that now, but purposeful education, which is directed towards educating someone to work in a specific career field, which is what trade schools are too. It's just those jobs don't require 6 years or 4 years of intense education in a subject.
Curriculum. You go to a trade school.
Right.
Yeah.
So this free college, number one, college is not the answer.
Right.
So get away from that's not the answer to a successful life. But number two, the reason it's stupid is you nailed it. Look at our public school system. If you make colleges, there are publicly funded colleges and there are private colleges. Publicly funded, if you make all colleges, basically that's publicly funded. All colleges would be publicly funded. I'm assuming there would still be private schools. So your elite would still go to the elite schools, right? And then you're going to get the substandard college education, which guess what? Everybody gets to have now.
Yeah.
And that means your degree is worth
Nothing.
shit.
Yeah.
All that work, it was free, but it doesn't mean anything. You just wasted 4 years. And meanwhile, the guy that went to trade school
Is kicking your ass.
is got a nice house,
Right.
and is living his dream, or at least he's working towards it.
Yeah.
So one, it's going to do is dumb down education. People from all over the world come to our country for our universities. We have the best universities in the world, bar none.
Yeah.
We are absolutely, because why? We have private institutions. We have institutions that fund themselves somewhat. And so we have the best, most educated professors, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So people from all over the world come to our country for schooling. Pakistan, some of the greatest minds that come here. They may go back home, but our goal when we bring them over here for those educations, we allow them to come over to try to keep them.
Right.
That's one of, talk about immigration, just
That's
as a side
part of
note.
that merit-based.
That's that merit-based immigration where we get people who contribute to our society. So that's why it's a terrible idea. It sounds so great to a struggling student because they're like, God, it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Because it is. College is super expensive. And there's issues for that. That's a whole other topic. Making it free, publicly funded, is not the answer.
Right.
I don't know that. I'm not even sure we could do it financially. But no, it's for those reasons. I think it's terrible. So the universal income model that's getting talked about more. And I think that's getting talked about more because we're watching with our society, we're becoming more technologically advanced, which is eliminating jobs.
Yeah,
and it is. And this is a natural course of things. It's always happened.
Yeah,
they're talking about having self-driving trucks.
Pretty soon.
Yeah, I think within the next decade, you can have trucks that have their own lane that transport goods to and from, driving 24 hours a day. No driver. They're just in that lane going.
You got to think of how many tens of thousands of jobs.
There's a lot of drivers in our country. It's a big portion of people drive trucks and drive transport goods from one place to another. That's a big hit. So what do we do with these people that have lost? There's not going to be all these other jobs lying around. I mean, eventually, I'm sure our society will change and mold and develop new jobs, and people will learn new skills. But there's going to be a chunk of people who are kind of in between, I think, and it's going to be difficult for those who are unable to adjust. It's going to be a problem for us. I think it's going to be a legit problem.
Yeah, absolutely, it will be.
So I've heard a couple ideas on this. I'm not totally against universal income. By the way, I think it's a legit discussion that we need to have. We need to be thinking ahead. And I've heard there's a couple ways. I know one other, besides giving everybody a universal income. I don't think that's the answer. I don't think it's plausible.
Okay.
I don't know that the money's there. I heard you throw out some stats on.
It's a huge.
You're talking first. You don't want to overtax. You don't want to overtax your wealthy people because you end up paying in the long run anyway. Because then they find other ways to put their money in different places. They're always going to find ways to save what they can, and I don't fault them for it. They earn that money. So, but I have heard creating a system where there's a minimum people who qualify. And it's a type of welfare, I guess. But people who would qualify, you want to make sure they all meet the medium national income, whatever it be, $32,000, $35,000, whatever that is. There would be a way to subsidize them to keep them at that level. The only question I have about it, because I'm not an economist, I'm just a dumb cop. How does inflation react to that? How do businesses react to that? Because there's always an adjustment to the money people have in their pocket, and if they have more money, cost of goods is going to go up. Like I don't know a model where that doesn't happen. Not that I know a lot of models. But.
Okay, so take that real quick. Say, I'll interject and say I don't like the application process. I would rather it be everyone or no one.
Right.
Because the second you go application process and who qualifies, it turns into bullshit.
Yeah. Well, the waste.
Every self-employed motherfucker out there will qualify.
Yeah.
They'll be making millions and they'll still qualify. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
There's going to be that abuse of the system. And so it's either, to me, it's either all or none. And I hate to say all or none.
Man, but how do you do all? I don't know how that's even possible.
You just do it that way. You're born, you just got your social security number, and you get it.
Where does it come from?
Exactly.
That's
either way is it where does it come from? Because if you do it, what you're saying, then the people who qualify would actually get more.
I just feel like it's starting to fall more into socialism.
That
bothers me.
So my thing is this: if you're going to give everybody $1,000 a month, right? Adjust taxes.
Yeah.
Adjust what you're taking, as opposed to having this, because then it's a more efficient process. You just simply don't pay in as much.
Right.
Right. And if you're at this lower income, it's already built into the tax code, which I hate all this bullshit, but it's already built in the tax code. You're not going to be paying taxes anyway.
Well, that's kind of already happening.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So
there's already people get checks back, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, how much did you get back?
Yeah.
How? You don't even work. I mean, I'm over it now. I've been doing it long enough. But yeah, that blows me away, the taxes, because I pay every year.
Yeah.
And when I realized that there's people that tell me what they get, I'm like, that's exactly what I paid. You got my check. I just wrote you a check.
I should just give it.
I mean, it would have been like, and I worked my ass off for that money. You know, I put a lot of hours in.
And that's kind of my thing is, and I'm all, so it being as transparent as possible. I'm for adjusting and just having tax based on utilization.
Yeah.
When whatever you spend, you get taxed on. National sales tax is a common way that it's put out. So you have your state tax, and you have a federal tax attached to it.
Yeah.
Whatever you buy, you pay a tax on. If your income is really low or you're jobless or whatever, you get something attached to your identification, or you get a card. There's something that basically you're exempt from taxes.
Yeah.
So then you go and you pay for your goods. Okay, well, no, it's not $120. It's $100.
Yeah.
Because you're exempt.
That's pretty interesting.
So that way, it makes the process efficient. Unfortunately, it takes a lot of jobs away.
But you know what? I've always liked that kind of the same. I guess it's the same concept with just the sales tax.
Yeah.
It's just built into goods you buy, and the more you purchase, the more you pay. I think I think it's extremely fair because it's going to tax the rich more.
Well, you already have luxury taxes. So if you buy a car over 60 or 65,000, something like that,
there's a luxury tax.
There's a luxury tax. Yeah.
So I think it's a very fair way of distributing tax. I don't think anybody could complain about it because if you don't have a lot, you're not buying a lot, so you're going to receive. if you have just like medium income, so I'm a medium income guy. So you have medium income. I'm buying a little bit, but not a lot. So I'm probably falling right there in the middle, where I'm only paying so much. And it's not a big deal because if I want something, I know there's a tax associated with it that's going to the government. So it's my choice to pay that tax.
Right.
And of course, if you're wealthy, you're buying a ton of shit anyway. It's not really going to affect you that much. Right. So you're still going to buy that yacht.
They'll buy more.
Probably.
They'll service more people. They'll employ more people. They'll do right.
But there's I guess it puts people out of jobs. We're talking about government people.
Yeah.
Well, fuck
IRS
the government
people.
jobs. You know what I mean? Like, fuck the government jobs.
They're so inefficient anyway.
You know what I'm saying? First of all, there's more than there needs to be. There's always more. There's how much duplication and is happening in government work. I mean, we were in the military.
Trace
what did you see
9,
there?
baby. Yeah.
Jesus Christ! Like, how many people got to stamp a form? Are you kidding me? You know what I'm saying? Like, government waste is horrible. Yeah. Like, people don't know.
Yeah.
Like, if you've never worked for the government,
well, my favorite.
You don't know.
This was late '90s. It was CNN International that did it.
Yeah.
So shocking in today's term, but they weren't always.
Back then, they were actually pretty decent.
Yeah. Especially international because it was a different beast. It was 2 totally different companies. It did a deal where they followed. I want to say it was Army supply. I think it was Army. I'll just say it was Army for the story. Followed them literally to get one screwdriver, one Phillips head screwdriver. And they did the Form 9 and they traced the time and they saw how many people went through and all this kind of stuff. And it wound up, and I just watched because I thought it was hilarious. So I was just laughing.
Yeah.
It was about $910 was the actual cost of getting this one screwdriver to the guy who needed it. You're loving this because you know.
Because it's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. And I think I think they did more than just the screwdriver. I think I kind of remember that. And I think I remember they actually ended up tracking.
They did a bunch.
Several stuff. And the cost was, like, I think they did toilet seat as one of them.
Yeah.
Because it was something hilariously ridiculous.
You remember that?
Yeah. I'm an old guy. I know all that stuff. So I remember, and it was, but what was fun, I was living in, I think I might have been living in Germany when that story came out. And my dad, he worked for the government, and we were laughing because it's true. It's
so true.
True. The government waste is horrible, and that's why it's so. When we see our government, first of all, when the liberals start promising you, well, the government's going to pay for stuff, realize it's going to be very inefficient and it's going to be very poor quality.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to get.
It's just the nature of government. It's not at fault. They're not intentionally trying to do that.
No,
it's
but
just
it's just
nature
the way it
of,
happens.
Right.
There's waste. It's just
right.
It's bad. That's why when you have private corporations competing to provide you a service, typically you're going to end up, there's going to be a service that's better that more people are going to go to. And then it's going to force the other service if they want to. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Yeah. But it's just that competition breeds better service. That's why there's you talked about public education. There's arguments that our schooling system should be privately run.
Yeah.
It should be private. There should be competition among private companies providing you education.
Yeah. And in the short term, it will cost more because they're going to come in and change systems, and it's going to be a full overhaul if it's privatized.
People are worried about people getting left behind in education, but it's already happening.
And I'll say this is, I have the option of sending my boys to a private Montessori school,
right?
Or I could send them for free to the elementary that's whatever quarter mile away, right? It's right down the way. I pulled the demographics on that elementary. You couldn't pay me for me to send my child to that school.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
You look at the scores, and I know scores are antiquated. I get all that system and the testing, and I understand how that works, but it's horrid.
Yeah.
Horrid.
Yeah.
I would feel like I was abusing my child if I sent them to that school.
Yeah. Oh, having kids is so scary.
Right.
Having kids is frightening. When you send your kids away to school,
yeah.
I mean, if you don't have kids, you can't understand it. But
No.
when you have a child and you're like, you look at the schools, you're like, wait, what school is my kid going to? This is a big fucking deal. Yeah, that's frightening, especially when you look into it and you look at the schools, you look at the scores, you look at the demographics. You're like, whoa.
And I'm not, no bullshit aside, this is a college tuition for both of them. And I've got basically a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old.
But it's that, what's sad is that our schools are raising our kids. Our kids learn so much through school, and they learn so much of their, to some extent, values and things they're learning from their friends at school. And the type of kids in that school is going to be who they associate with in school. They're going to learn a lot from them.
Yeah.
And parents nowadays, everybody's working. You get home with your kids, you're tired. You play with them a little bit. They want to watch some TV after they do their homework. Whatever parenting style you use, but they're spending 8 hours of their day with other kids. And let me tell you something. Just like those kids are their peers, so they want to have friends with their peers. They're going to do stuff to maintain their friendships with their peers. Man, having children is
it's expensive as shit.
Yeah,
don't play. If you do it right, it's expensive as shit.
Even if you do it wrong, it's expensive. As shit.
Either way, it's expensive.
But yeah.
I'm like, and that's one of the things, and so we laugh and ironically with a little satire, laugh about how much we spend on their school, but we're like this. The value of that now, because we learn more and more with psychology how important the first several years are as opposed to the last.
Formation of so many things.
Yeah. So then they're going to be ahead there. Then they're going to be reality of life. They're going to be networked with a bunch of other people that have the same mentality.
Yep.
We want the best.
Yep.
We're going to put people in the best opportunity to succeed. It's not going to mean they're going to succeed.
Right.
But they're going to have a strong network with a bunch of successful people that are like-minded.
Yep.
That they win. And if
time.
they don't win, then there's nothing that could help.
No, look at the people who are most successful in society. They come from the same packs. They come from the same areas. They come from the same groups. Yeah. And there's a reason for that. It's because those are successful parents and successful people putting themselves around other successful people, and that's what happens when you're not. You're gonna look. There's a reason why a lot of these euphemisms and sayings are true. Like birds of a feather flock together. Whatever. Yeah. Say what you want, but the crowd you run in is the crowd you're going to be in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just for the most part, that's what happens.
And really, you can say for life, because there's tons of studies. You can research this. But if you're part of this pack through high school and you go away 10 states away, you're going to find a pack that is very similar to that. Yeah. Because it's your comfort.
Yep.
So whatever you establish as an early teenager is, for the most part, what you're going to have your whole life.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%.
Wow.
Kids are scary. Having kids is frightening. It is not for the weak of heart.
No.
I mean, I'm still scared. My kids are like, my daughter's going to be a junior this year, and I don't even want to talk about that right now. She just got her phone taken away again. And my sons are going to be a freshman in high school.
Shit.
And it's scary, man. I'm excited for them. I'm excited for them as a dad, thinking about everything they have laying before them, like all the excitement, all the experiences, their whole life's choices. If they make good choices, they're going to they have everything they need, right? Yeah. They're coming from, okay, like I don't like their mom, but she loves them.
Yeah.
So they're coming from love, and she does a good job as someone. Well, I don't disagree with everything, but whatever. I'll just try to get past my pettiness and say that she loves them. She's treating them with love and giving them and forcing them to try to be successful. And I'm doing my part, trying to give them all the tools they need, all the love they need, the support they need. Yeah. They're coming from, as far, not perfect because, their parents aren't together, but they're coming from a supported, loving environment.
Right.
So they've got the tools they need. They're both smart kids.
Yeah.
So they're I'm looking, they got a lot ahead of them, but man, they can still make bad decisions and go down a bad path. So it's scary. And that's what's good. So if you're coming from a bad environment, I can't imagine how hard it is to come up from that.
Yeah. I mean, it just takes so much. So if you take the young, poor kid in a bad neighborhood, right? And I come from the realm that race doesn't mean shit in this. Poor is poor.
Yeah,
bad neighborhood is a bad neighborhood.
It is.
You can call whatever, but when you make all those equal at that bottom end level, I just call it equal. So you take a young child who's poor, who is a single parent family, has siblings, whatever, has to fight and scrounge for everything, doesn't get nurtured, is never told, hey, you did a good job, never gets any of those types of things, and rolls through. That's what we need to be addressing.
Yes.
And I'm kind of going all over when I say this, but I'm just kind of like, because Steph and I have volunteered and done some things at some lower end schools, whatever, with kids in these situations, and they love the shit out of it. And you talk to them, and I'm talking to them, I'm conversing with them, looking them in the eye, and having a conversation. That changed their life. Yeah, and they're helping me, and I'm like, hey man, thanks. That was good. The fact that I looked at them and said thank you, some of them, that's the first time they've ever heard that.
I believe it.
And I'm just like, holy crap.
Yeah, there's some people living in horrible conditions.
I'm just like, we got to fix that.
Well, you know, it's something you hit on, and I've thought this forever. I thought this was, like, I didn't know how this wasn't obvious to most people. Everybody looks at, so especially with our country, right? Yeah. We look at everything's identity politics. And it has been for a long time. Yeah. So everybody looks at things through the lens of race. Yeah. Right. So they're saying young black youths have this percentage of chance of going to jail versus going to college versus making this much money when they grow up versus young white youths versus young Asians versus, we always break everything down by race. And there's some truth to that. I mean, if you look at young Jewish kids, Jewish families typically have very successful. Yeah. I mean, there's only like 15 million Jews in the world.
One quick interjection, looking through the lens of race. Right. I learned this last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever, doing some research. Right. When they do young black males and black families, they do not include the salaries of professional athletes.
Well,
because it might skew the averages.
I mean, it is what it is, right?
If you're making a claim against race, you've got to put that race in it, right?
I think that's a weird thing. Because you're being, again, that's not intellectually honest. Right. Because that's a legit profession. Right. Right? Just it's an athletic profession, but it's still something that someone had to work really hard to achieve.
Like I would, if I were a part of the African American race. Yeah. Right. And I learned that they're giving me these stats, and they're not including the people that we look up to that's helping us elevate ourselves effectively.
No, you're right.
I would be upset.
That's a weird. I didn't know that.
Put them in that.
That's a really
because
weird.
What it takes to become a professional athlete is not easy.
No,
at any level. I don't care.
And you
what
need support. Yeah. You need people behind you, supporting you, giving you what you everything you need, so you can focus on achieving that skill and that ability. Yeah. That's just.
And now I couldn't find if they did or did not include entertainers, music and actors and actresses.
Man, that's really disappointing if they do that. So it's a good point that you brought up. So I guess what I was going to come back to. So if you look at some, that's really, I didn't know that. Yeah, I had no idea. That's ridiculous. Yeah. So if you look at some subgroups, so we'll say like Jewish people, typically have very successful. I don't know what the number is, but so there's approximately 15 million Jews in the world. Jewish people in the world. I think it's 15 million.
Maybe a little more, but close.
But I looked it up because I heard that stat, so I said, that can't be possible. Yeah. Like, it's impossible. Yeah. And it's about, it's somewhere between,
very close to that.
That's not very many people. How many Nobel Peace Prize winners are Jewish? I don't know how many.
I saw the breakdown.
I don't have the stat in front of me, but I'm just going to tell you right now, a lot. A lot.
An overwhelming
a majority. Lot. Yeah. That's insane, right? Out of such a small group of people on our planet. Yeah. But and then you look at Asians, right? There's a big controversy about how Asians are actually, I think Harvard and some Ivy League schools are talking about trying to admit less Asians because their scores are always so high, they always qualify, which is a really weird racist thing to do. Yeah. So if you look at different groups, there's groups that have more successful, educated people in their groups than others. Yeah. But I think overall, if we look at the situation, I agree with you, and I've thought this for such a long time, we shouldn't be looking at things through the lens of race at all. Right. We should be looking at things through the lens of socioeconomic status. Right. Where are you going to school? Where do you live? Because if you live, like I said, if you live in a crappy, community, it doesn't matter if you're white or you're black or you're Asian or you're Jewish or you're Hispanic. You live in a crap, and you're getting crap talk to you, you're living it around crap, that's what's feeding your mind, that's what you're growing up with, including in your school. So like those are that low socioeconomic status, they need help. Like there needs to be something done to provide them some tools to get out of that environment.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
it has nothing to do with race. It has to do with
Yeah.
the environment they live in.
And I think I think I'm going to do this. Let's take me. Let's take everybody at Gracie school.
Okay.
Right. So, how many people there?
I don't know.
Like,
We got. I mean, not counting kids or everybody.
No, not counting kids.
We probably 150 maybe.
100. So let's take half. 75.
Okay.
Okay. 76. Just put me in there. We go to these areas and volunteer time.
Right.
Activities, help clean. Just interact.
Right.
Just go to interact. So I'm not saying, because I like what you said, we got to help teach them how to get out of these situations.
Right.
I think first teach them to manage their situation.
Right.
Don't even think about getting out. Like, they're like, oh, I got to get out. Football's my only way out. My only way out. Take that only way out phrase and put that shit in the trash.
Okay.
Teach them as we go. Here's how we interact with people. Because you take a jiu-jitsu school, you don't get much more diverse than that.
This is true.
You really, from
Very diverse.
their jobs to their looks to their ethnic
Everything.
to their weight
Everybody's
to their
there.
athleticism, everything is so different. You're
Yes.
getting the spectrum.
Yes.
So now the spectrum is coming in and showing that they give a shit and giving them tools of how to communicate, tools of how to fix this, tools of how to take care of your shit. And it's not talking to them. We're doing it while we're conversing with them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, whatever, clean up a park.
Yeah.
We're walking around and just like having fun and swinging a little bit and picking this up a little bit and doing this and getting them to go get that. And we're going to have some tools. We're going to tighten these things down, make it a little safer.
Right.
And at the end of it, you sit down for 20 minutes and you show them everything they just did.
Yeah.
So now you're teaching them how to manage their own. So maybe they don't have the best shit, but it works.
Yeah.
They're proud of it. They have a part of it. They
Yeah.
have some ownership in it.
I like that.
Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I like
you
that a
keep
lot.
doing that type of stuff, and you're like, now that's going to empower them because they're talking.
Right.
So if little Johnny's doing stupid shit, everybody else is talking, so they know little Johnny's doing stupid
Yeah.
shit. So he gets called out,
Yeah.
gets in trouble. So
Yeah.
now the community's coming. So basically, the end of the story, the moral of the story is you're creating a community.
Yeah.
That gives a
you know,
shit.
it's something else. It's exposure to people outside their community.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people inside their community, it's so tightly knit, and not tightly knit. That's the wrong term. But they don't get exposure to people outside the community. Everybody outside the community is others.
Yeah.
And well, they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, and they were just born into the perfect situation.
Right.
So I don't have that. So I'm just gonna do whatever here to survive. It's that exposure.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, guess what? A lot of people who aren't living in your situation, maybe they were used to.
Yeah.
Because I know people that absolutely grew up in tough situations, and they found a way to, I guess, like I said, manage what they were in and work themselves into a better situation to where things are pretty good for them now.
Yeah.
And that exposure to other ideas. Like if I think about who I was at 20 versus who I was now, as far as like my exposure to other ideas and thoughts. And this is jumping off into another thing because I heard this actually on a podcast. I can't remember which one, and I think Jordan Peterson said it, and I absolutely loved it. And I think he's really onto something when he says we're going through a second enlightenment period.
Yes. Absolutely.
With our information age. We call it information age now, but really what it is a second enlightenment. And that's why you're seeing these weird trends in politics. You're seeing these just weirdness because people are exposed to the entire world. We're communicating with each other across the globe on a regular basis through social media.
With no delay.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And having conversations with each other, with people 10,000 miles on the other side of the planet. It's amazing that we're experiencing this, and it really is like a second enlightenment that we're going through. I think another 500 years, 200 years from now, that's what we're gonna look at this as. And I think if we make it 200 more years, I think our globe's gonna look very different. I think the communities, I think the countries, I think our connections are actually gonna look very different. Because if you look at our progression over the last couple hundred years, the world is absolutely in an unbelievably, as bad as it is in some places, we're in an unbelievably amazing state. People are living better and longer, healthier, happiness. Happiness is a relatively new term for most people in the world because forever it was a small, tiny percentage of people who even understood what happiness would be. Most people were scrounging for meals and to feed their families. For 200,000 years. It's only like the last couple hundred years. Like our society, I was driving down the street and I look around at people just driving cars, going to the convenience store to get a snack, going to their boring jobs, going, thinking about what they're going to watch on TV, playing on their iPhone, and looking up some stupid dog video. Do you realize how ridiculous this is?
Right. If you, in line with what you're saying is the amount of people in this world that have fresh water now compared to 20 years ago.
It's huge.
I don't even know how you measure that.
Even in Africa.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Even in Africa. Like Africa, as bad as it is, it's made huge leaps and bounds with just something as simple as fresh water and people living in better environments and things getting better. Technologically, cities growing. I mean, they have these, they're starting to have massive cities growing there. And of course, Africa's a ginormous continent. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. So like 200 years from now, I'm kind of curious to see what we look like.
It all speeds up. As we know, it all speeds up.
Yeah.
It all speeds up.
There's
what
a
we've
factor.
done in 20 years, we're going to be doing
it's
in
a factor by 10.
Yeah.
There's actually a term for it, the technological advance, where there's it builds on itself every so, and it just continues to increase at a higher rate. Take a higher
factor by 10 every year.
Something like that. Yeah.
Those lines,
something crazy, which if you look at it, it makes sense. Like if we look at 20 years ago to today, it's kind of crazy, man. Like times are crazy.
Texting wasn't even big in the year 2000. It was here. But it was all like you had to get plans, and you had to get like an unlimited texting
there was
plan.
a data. Well, I don't even know if they called it. I don't remember what they called it.
Like the number of texts.
Yeah, you only got so many.
X number of 100 text was $10 a month.
Well, I still remember when I heard my friend. I was in the military, and he said something about the internet. I had no idea what he was talking about, and it was something real basic, obviously, because this is like 1993, 1994, and it was something where he would talk to someone on, and I thought, I was like, what? Like, what the hell? He's like, I want to go talk to someone on my computer or internet or something. And I was going out to have a beer with some friends. And I thought,
you're like, what?
What kind of boring ass shit are you going to go do? But now,
insane.
we're doing it right here on our phones.
Yeah.
Just like like nothing. So, yeah, 200 years from now, 20 years from now, it's going to be kind of cool. See what pops up.
It's going to be fucking amazing. But you got to go
so.
choke people, dude.
I do. I'm excited.
You're going to be late. Yes. So everybody,
I'll be fashionably late. So
well,
cool.
everybody listening and watching, thank you. I appreciate it because our numbers are growing.
Are they?
Yeah.
We gotta share this with me.
Yeah, it'll be good. Yeah.
I'm having fun, man. You know what? I'm just having fun. I have a good time.
I look at the numbers because I'm fucking.
Yeah,
scientist.
it's cool. Well, no, but truthfully, like I've had more people come up to me than I know. These people I know. They're like, "Hey, man, I was listening to y'all's podcast the other day at work. The one about this." I was like, "Really? You listen to that?"
You're like, "Fuck it."
Really? Like, yeah, man, that was really good. And you said this or he said that, and I hadn't thought about that before. And it's exciting. It's like, wow, really?
I know.
And that's cool, man. And I'm enjoying it, man. But I'm just having a blast. I mean, if someone's having a blast with this, or at least being mildly entertained during their boring day, makes me feel good because it's awesome.
Man, awesome.
Yeah.
See, that's me too. Okay, he's got to choke people. So, peace. Thank you guys.
Right.
We will see you next time.